Sometimes it takes a minute to find the button. Good morning. All right, guys. I had planned out today to talk a little bit about preparing to win. And I forgot to grab, I have like 17 books. You guys, I know I always refer to a lot of books because I want you guys to be able to take some of the stuff that I talk about and learn more on the subject. So a lot of where I've learned stuff from, I like to reference back to it because they're not all my ideas. It doesn't all come from here, though I would love for everybody to think I'm absolutely that smart. It just comes to me. It doesn't. It's all learned. And that's why I preach personal development so much. But one of my favorite books is oh my gosh, now I can't remember the exact name of it. Born to Win by Zig Ziglar. It is really good on Audible too. I've probably listened to that book 6 times at least. He talks a lot about preparing and planning to win. And so every time I think about planning to win, I always go back to that book because if you listen to that on Audible, by the time you're like part of the way through it, you realize very quickly that planning is a big portion of how successful people become successful. It just doesn't happen. It's not like scratching off a lottery ticket. Jen, it is Born to Win by Zig Ziglar. And just so you guys know, we're gonna, because we've kind of gotten back into publishing everything in multiple places so that nobody misses anything, in our group, the Hustle and Slay Extreme Entrepreneurs, all of the recordings, all the stuff I talk about, graphics, books, recommendations, will all get thrown in there. So if you're not in there, just ask for an invite. If you're in there, you should see that stuff come in each and every day. Okay, last week we asked you to name your goal, meaning if you have like planned your review, go back to the first of the year when we're all doing goal setting and go find that one. I call it sometimes big, hairy, scary goal, or the one that you really want and maybe haven't achieved yet. And we have, about 110 days left of the year. We're going to go on a massive 90-day run when it hits October 1st, but we're preparing for all of that right now. And in the midst of preparing, we don't just stop and not do any of the work. We're also doing some of the work. We're just also preparing for a massive run. And I'm doing that not because I want to slow you down from your work, but I want you to plan ahead. Because if you've ever heard the saying, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Okay, so I do think it's super important to not pause, but slow down for a second and make a plan of where you're headed so that we can crush it. And that's part of the issue with when we hit January 1, or I like to say September 1st is the second new year. But that's the problem with most people's goals, is they become goals and dreams and they want those things, but then there's never really any plan or action items to be taken. And so 3 months down the road, or maybe even 3 weeks down the road, we have forgotten what that goal even is, or that we were even supposed to be working at it because we never made a plan behind it. How many times I see people come into network marketing and join a new company, and you see all those like company hoppers out there that are from one company to the next company, the next company, the next company, all competing products, and it's constant. And it's mainly because they failed to plan out how they were going to execute their run to the top. They see this big shiny object and they think they're going to go after it, and it's something new, and they see the top of the compensation plan. They love the new product. They're going to go crush this. And then 3 weeks or 3 months later, they're hopping to another company because they actually never planned out the journey to the top of that mountain. It just looked pretty from a distance. They were looking at the top of the mountain and they thought that it looked really cool up there. They saw somebody up there that had a new Louis Vuitton purse they were carrying around, and they were like, I want to be up there. But then they never planned on how they were going to get up there. So what I wanted you to do is grab that one goal that you maybe still really want to achieve. We have plenty of time left in the rest of this year. Not time for you to be lazy about it or drag your feet or not make a plan, but we have plenty of time left in the year to accomplish something we may have really, really wanted at the beginning of the year. Or maybe in the middle of the year, you came up with a goal that, man, if I could do this, this would change X, Y, and Z. for, my life, my family, my finances, whatever it is. Everybody's goals are different. I just asked you to pick one. So if you're if you're available and able and can type into the chat, yes, Michelle, you can be added to the group. Aaron should be able to add you, and then we'll just get it approved. Michelle would like to be added to the group, Aaron. I would love if you would type into the comments what that one goal is. And please, I got after one of my teams over the weekend for not wanting to shout out what their goals are for certain things and targets. One of the ways that you will stay very consistent to your plan is if you tell other people what that goal is. So let's do that. Tell other people what your one big, hairy, scary goal is. I don't care what it is. I mean, don't put in there anything crazy that would embarrass you. But what is the one really big goal that you are working towards? Okay, I love it, Jill. She's got a monetary goal in there. Making $12K a month to pay off debt that's been lingering. Yes, these are important, you guys. And there are so many vehicles out there to be able to accomplish these. We just have to have a plan. So I want to ask you, thank you for popping those in there. I appreciate when I have some feedback. Okay, so we named our goal. I gave you guys a goal sheet. If you don't have that, you can refer back to that group too. It's a SMART goal sheet because it's the only way that I do goals. I'm gonna grab mine. You might not be able to see it because I have this silly little camera thing on that kind of blurs everything out, and I apologize for that. But see, this is what the sheet kind of looks like. And it's in that page, and I filled mine out because I know exactly where I am headed and what the number one goal is in my life for the next 110-ish days. Okay. And mine is very time bound. Some of this I have to hit by a certain date so that the opportunity that's in front of me does not expire. So if you don't have that goal mapped out on that SMART goal sheet, please go back and do that. It is in the page, super easy to print out. Well, for most, Aaron, it's super easy to save and print out. Aaron was struggling a little bit this week with that. So if you're struggling, just type it in there and be like, hey, how did you guys get this to save? It's pretty easy. She was just trying to email it to herself. So did you fill out your worksheet? Did you get that goal, SMART goal sheet filled out so that you make sure you have all the things planned? Okay. I want to know how prepared you are. So I also gave you guys a daily worksheet that I designed that I fill out every single day. Again, it loves to disappear. Okay, but that's sort of what it looks like. I'm not going to share my screen right now. It's also in that page. It has you go through the most important things and write them all out first thing in the morning. It takes me maybe 5 to 10 minutes to fill that out every single morning. So how prepared are you? How intentional are you with this goal that you're setting that you really want? I know, Kristen, you're driving. It's okay. I love, Rachel, not to squirrel. I love seeing people's goals. I don't know what it is. It makes me want to do these Zooms every single morning of the week. Literally, I'm not going to go back to doing that, but it makes me want to because I want to see people crush those. And if I get just this tiny little part of helping you be able to do that, whether it's from mindset or getting organized or staying accountable on these Zooms, that just feeds my soul. I want to help people hit those goals. It's why I keep getting on here and doing this. I told some people on Saturday, I've hit some massive goals in the past. I know how to do it. I know how to organize it. I know how to structure it. I know how to execute it, and I know how to get it done. If I can breathe that into someone else's life, I want to do that. That's why I get on these and do these Zooms. So follow the things that I'm teaching you and telling you to do. None of this is anything that I'm just telling you to do because I haven't done it myself. I absolutely have. And Rachel, I know that you're perfectly capable of hitting that goal. I know you're perfectly capable of that. So all it has to do with is creating that plan and staying very consistent to that plan. And if we just did that and got really intentional every single day about hitting those goals and working towards those, there's a big difference in, I have on this worksheet, what is today's mantra? If you have your worksheet and you are already started this process and you filled yours out this morning, will you please go type in the comments what you put as your today's mantra at the top of that sheet? Mine's different every day. And I literally put whatever just like pops in my mind, like literally whatever just pops in my mind. And this morning it was kick ass and repeat. I don't know why, but kick ass and repeat is the mantra for today because I have a lot to do. It's Monday. It is time to kick ass and repeat today. So I'm filling out the sheet along with you. I promise when you do this, now this will sit on my desk all day long. My gratitude is written on here. The most important things I need to accomplish are on here. When I do these every single day of the week, I am telling you, I get so much more done. And my focus for the big longer term goal, the 90-day, 100-day goal, it gets accomplished because it's front and center in my life starting each and every single morning. The difference of waking up and not doing that is you go about your day haphazardly checking off boxes in your mind about what you think is the most important things to get done. And you will get so easily distracted by the people and the things that sit in that urgent but not important category. If you go back a few weeks, I did a whole training on the 4 quadrants and how we time manage. But if you don't have your day figured out and what is important for you and what your mantra for this day is, and knowing at the end of the day, you want to fill out that biggest win, or today's biggest win can be determined first thing in the morning. Today's biggest win for me is something I need to accomplish today. And at the end of the day, I'm going to check back on the sheet and see if I got my biggest win done. Do you know, if I go to bed tonight and I got the biggest win accomplished, I'm going to feel so much better. And guess what I'm going to do when I get up first thing tomorrow morning? Fill out that darn sheet again because it worked yesterday, right? And what are you going to do along the way when you hit the mini goals that we're going to structure for you, the mini goals that you hit along the way so that we're living in the gain instead of the gap of our life? We constantly live in that gap. We're going to retrain our brains to live in the gain, which means small mini wins. If you can say today's biggest win every single day and you complete that and you win and you celebrate that every single day, the chances of you making it to that goal at the very end drastically increase because you stopped living in the gap. You stopped letting your brain go into what didn't I do today because I didn't have a plan first thing this morning. I didn't fill anything out on a sheet. I didn't make a checklist. I didn't prepare myself appropriately to win the day. Right? So I know a sheet printed out can seem so silly or mundane or not necessary. It really is. It prepares you for your entire day. So let me tell you about my morning this morning. I wanted to test a little theory. You know, during the summer, we all get a little lazy, us moms, maybe dads too. The kids are off school and we tend to sleep in a little bit or let that alarm clock go because we don't really have to get up, okay? Well, September rolls around and school's back in session. And side note, I keep questioning when my son's out of school, out of high school in 3 years, what I'm going to do with my life. Maybe I'll retire. Yeah, right. I say yeah, right, not because I don't think it's possible. I say yeah, right, because I don't think that it's possible for my brain to actually do that. All right, before I squirrel all the way. So this morning, yesterday, I told myself, Sunday's a day for planning for me. I always like to sit down on my couch, bring out my paper planner, my sheets and my notebooks, and just kind of plan out how my week is going to go. So yesterday I kind of, jotted in those notes and I was like, you know what? It's time for me to get my poop in a group and start getting up a half hour earlier. I already get up early, but this morning I decided I was setting my alarm for 5:30 because what I like to do in the morning, and your morning can be laid out completely different, but what I like to do in the morning is give myself a few minutes to check my emails. Now, a lot of people will say this is the worst advice ever, and it might be for you. Choose what works for you. And I'm going to go through a couple of different choices for you, and then you can map out your own. I like to get, like get some water, get my capsules, my little jumper cables. And then I like to lay back in bed and I like to check my emails and kind of just review my calendar for the day. We'll let myself wake up. But I wasn't getting up until my son needed to get up. And so I was like hopping out of bed and racing to the kitchen. And I was like, oh my gosh, half asleep, barely could talk to him. And I was like, you know what? I need to get up a half hour earlier. Give yourself a little bit of time to wake up, do your little routine that makes you feel good inside. So that's what I like. And then a half hour in, I can get up, and I was so much more effective. But even setting my alarm 30 minutes earlier, okay, two things. I always go back to plan, do, review. What works, what isn't working, and move on to something else. Change it up if it's not working. I have been doing this accountability Zoom on Monday mornings for 3 years, 8:30 a.m. We determined that for our schedules, because most of this gets recorded and pushed out into 19 different directions now, that 9 a.m. worked better for Sydney and I both, because of school schedules and drop-off times and packing lunches and showering and workouts and all the things we like to get in before the Zoom in the morning. That 9 a.m., that half hour push was going to make a huge difference. So by me setting my alarm for a half hour earlier today and pushing our Zooms to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time rather than 8:30 after the habit of them for 3 years, my morning was so much better. And I am so excited that I got up a half hour earlier and pushed this a half hour later. That literally changed the landscape of how everything's going to operate for the next 100 days for me. This morning was like crushing. I got up at 5:30. I was totally awake. But by the time my son got up, I was able to be happy and running around the kitchen for him instead of like, I only have 3 more years left with him before he's out. He's gone. Do I want them spent around the kitchen, like complaining that I'm tired and I can barely open my eyes and it's dark? Or would I rather be there motivating him for his day and making sure that he gets sent off with the best possible mom attitude there is, because he's going to come into a gazillion problems in his high school life that he doesn't need to deal with. And he can resort back to the fact that mom was kind, friendly, and happy in the morning instead of groggy, sleepy, and wanting to crawl back in bed, right? It changes the whole day. So I was down and in my workout by like 6:15 this morning, and I was in the shower and getting ready by 7. That it literally changed that half hour, and knowing I had an extra half hour before I had to hop on here changed everything. My whole day is mapped out and planned out. Now I get to spend the rest of my day not chasing my tail. Would you like that? Would you like to do your entire day not running and working in that urgent but not important category? Well, guess what? When I get up at 6, I'm groggy. I get him out the door. I'm doing my thing. I might go on a walk before the Zoom and get some exercise. I might not, might go after. I am like trying to catch up all darn day. So I really wanted to test the theory last night before getting on and doing this morning and go, all right, it's been a little while since I've been up at 5:30 in the morning and really mapped out my morning. Like I do. This is just taking it to another level. And by the time I was hopping on here this morning, I felt so much more prepared to come on and talk to you guys than I have in months, because I changed my entire morning. Will that be more effective for all of you and for me? Yes. So I'm thrilled that I did that. And so I challenge you guys to do the same thing. If you can get up a half hour earlier, if you can't, maybe just rearrange how your morning operates just a little bit, so that it works better for you, so that your day is now spent in the categories of which it should be to hit your goals by the end of this year. Okay, so do you prepare daily? Are you using the worksheet? Do you have the worksheet? Have you printed out the worksheet? It works if you work it. I promise it does. I challenge you guys to go and get that done today. There's a couple of other things I put in there last week. One was a check. Oh my God, it's disappearing again. Maybe I just have to show you guys my ugly backgrounds in the morning. Here we go. If I pull it far enough back, you can see it. These are also in there. If you can't find them, just bump somebody. We'll tag you in it. I have mine right up here taped to the front of my desk. I picked a dollar amount that goes along with my goal. And maybe yours is not a dollar amount. Maybe yours is a weight loss goal or something else. And that's totally cool. If yours is attached to a monetary figure, please print out that check and write it out. It's going on my vision board. It's going up here. It's going on my bathroom mirror. It's going on my refrigerator, because I'm hitting that number by the date that I've selected. I'm hitting that number. I am getting very intentional with how I plan everything out for the next few months. And then we'll start again January 1st. I'll be here. I hope you'll be here too. But let's be here and have hit that goal. Okay. So those are a few things that I put in there last week. I just wanted to remind everybody of what was in there. And now I want to move on to teaching you guys some strategies, and you can create your own. These are just ones that are already like done for you. But you can DIY, do it yourself for whatever works for your day. But just before I get into that, I want to tell you in The Miracle Morning, it's a book by Hal Elrod. Let me pull it back here. There's another. You see how there's like tabs in here? Because I literally read this book like 6 times too. That book changed my life years ago. I even had Hal Elrod speak at an event that I put on. He's an incredible human. He said, we should go try to pull that recording. I said I was going to do that. We should try to pull that recording and put it in the page for everybody. Special little edition. He is incredible. His story is incredible. If you like need a good pick me up of somebody who's been through some crazy stuff and has literally changed the trajectory of his life by doing very small, simple things in the morning every single day, that's a story for you. It's incredible. And yes, we had him speak at an event and he did a workshop. So maybe we'll go try to find that recording and get it into that page. But one thing he says is looking in the review mirror syndrome. Looking in the review mirror is one of the most crippling things for success. In order to stop this, though, we have to plan to win. We have to concentrate on that plan every single morning and stay consistent with the plan to win. That will stop you from looking backwards and going, oh, I put this goal out there in January, though, Jessica, I have not hit it yet. And I'm just a failure. I'm not going to do it. And you keep looking backwards at why you didn't hit it, instead of just creating the plan and moving forward and letting go of the past and stop looking backwards at it. Let's just only look forward. And if you look forward every single morning, when you pop your eyes open and you're like, where's my sheet? Or however you want to start your day, you will start off on that plan every day and feel so much better at the end of each day. You will do it again the next day. Stop looking in the rearview mirror about what we didn't accomplish yet this year, and let's start looking at the next 100 or so days that we have left. Okay. So how do you set the tone for your morning? If you are able to type, I would love for you to type. Do you already have a morning routine? Do you have a very set morning routine that you follow each and every day? And what is like one thing that it starts with? While I'm talking, if you want to type that in the chat, I would greatly appreciate your involvement. But I love to start mine. It's a combination of the Miracle Morning and something that I've kind of come up with on my own that works for me. So I'm going to go through both. Okay. So the Miracle Morning is the SAVERS. If you've never heard this, I'm going to put the sheet in our page. It is an acronym, SAVERS. It starts with silence, spending the first few minutes of the morning in silence, whether that's meditating or praying, tune into your breath, just be silent. I have a hard time with that first thing in the morning. I like to check emails. I'm weird. Okay. So that's why I said I've kind of operated mine just a little bit differently. I want you to create your morning routine that works for you. And let's get it done by tomorrow morning. It's not hard. You can take some of this. You can take some of that. You can take some of just what works for you. Mary Clark, we're going to work on one. You are mine. I am yours. We are going to get this morning routine down. No more staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Sometimes I know people's habits because I've like traveled with them. Your morning is what is going to set your entire life. I promise. It is going to determine the success of the rest of your life, how you work your mornings, how you plan the rest of your day from that morning. Okay, so SAVERS. Silence is the S. A is for affirmations. Setting your affirmations, perhaps create a document ahead of time. That's what your affirmations are right on this sheet that I've printed out for you. I didn't print it out for you. I just created it. You can print it out for yourself. Like I said, if you don't have a printer, go to Staples, go to Office Depot, go somewhere, get them printed out. They are colorful, but if you only have black and white to print them out in black and white, that works too. So your affirmations are right on that sheet for you. these are things that we want to say about ourselves that we like, that are going to set the tone for how we feel all day long, right? So I'm feeling accomplished today was my first one, because it's Monday and I have this huge to-do list that I've got to get done. And so I wanted to know right first thing in the morning that I feel accomplished. I'm going to go into my day feeling like I'm accomplished. Okay, so those are your affirmations. Visualization, spending some time each day, whether you do these the first 20 minutes of your day or you set this out, some of these out, like visualizations, I don't do first thing in the morning. They might work better for you. I like doing my affirmations first thing in the morning. Visualizations I may do later in the day. But I'm going to have my vision board, the group that will meet with us tomorrow morning knows about the clipboard. I'm going to have my clipboard ready with my visualizations right on there. I'm going to look at them every single day, 30,000 times a day until I hit them. Okay. Exercise first thing in the morning. This is absolutely on my list. It is one of my top priorities. I exercise for my body. I exercise more for my brain. If you are not fitting in exercise somewhere into your day, I prefer in the morning. If I say I'm going to do it later in the day, I never get to it. And then I feel like a failure, period. Plain and simple. I'll just be transparent. I feel like failure if I don't get exercise out of the way first thing in the morning for myself. So exercise is for my brain more than anything. When I get done with that walk or that weightlifting session, or today I was on my ARC trainer, I feel like I can conquer the world. And if I don't do that, I don't feel that way for the rest of the day. And then read is a top priority for me. So that's the R on Savers. And then S is scribe, writing out, in a journal, making notes, whatever, kind of just dumping your thoughts on paper. Do you have a journal? Dumping out what is in that brain sometimes will help you just declutter the mind each day. All right, we are almost at 9:30. Let me go through what mine is. You guys have probably heard mine a few times, which is the Go Be Great. It's more about taking action than anything else for me. And it's only just a few things. Mine is starting off with gratitude first thing in the morning. I need the reminder because I can very easily get off track. And somebody who starts their day with gratitude every single day will have a much better chance at success than those who do not start off being grateful for the things that they already have and the things that they are accomplishing. So I start off with gratitude every single day. It is why it is on that sheet. Reading, personal development needs to happen every day of my life, even if it's 5 minutes. I tend to do way more than that. I sometimes pair it with my exercise so that I can multitask, because I'm a major multitasker. But reading, personal development is a number one for me on my list. Exercise, already went over that on the other one, but this is my GREAT, Go Be Great process that I use every single day. As long as I get these done, I feel like I've absolutely accomplished. So gratitude, reading, exercise, accountability. It's why we do these Zooms. It's why we have these groups. It's why we have business friendships. It's why I have my business bestie. It's why I do all of these things, because I need to be held accountable, just like you need to be held accountable. So we create this space for accountability. Accountability every single day of my life is necessary. I have to have people in a group that holds me accountable, or I don't necessarily complete the things that I need to get done. Because if it's just you and you'll always let yourself down. It's an unfortunate thing, but we will. But you won't let other people down. So having a group to stay accountable to, it's why I'm asking you to shout out what your big, hairy, scary goal is that you want to hit by the end of the year, because I want you to have people to hold you accountable. And accountability doesn't mean we're going to come after you with, a wooden spoon, Sydney, and spank you if you don't get your goal done. But we're going to help you, remind you why you're here, why you're doing it. What can we do to further this along for you? How can we be your cheerleaders? What do you need from this group? That's why we're here. That's your accountability. And then T is training/teach. Each one teach one. I don't know if you've ever heard that story. I am big about training on a new thing each and every day. It doesn't necessarily have to be new every single day, but something I'm working towards learning. Or I want to be teaching something. Today's a teaching day, right? It's not necessarily a learning day for me and training. It's a teaching day for me. So it's always about taking in and then giving back some of those things that we learn. And if you ever learn a new task and you go out, the best way to get really, really good at it is to turn around and teach it to somebody else, because it sticks in your brain better. All right, guys, that's all I have today. It's after the half-hour mark. I appreciate you guys adjusting your schedules with me. We will get this recording out for everybody as well. And I hope that you guys have a fabulous week. For those of you who are Le-Vel brand promoters, I will be on here for you for bonus strategy tomorrow morning. So I hope you guys have just the most outstanding day and outstanding week. Get your worksheets done, get your week planned out, get your day planned out, and I will see you here next week. We will also see Sydney, same time, same place on Wednesday morning. She'll be a little more social media driven and focused, but still all about planning things out so that you are effective in your social media day. All right, guys, have a fabulous day.